Okay, I need your attention. The tech regulations are changing. There's a risk some of our hard work will be undone, so we need to mitigate it. As soon as you can, I want you to look at the developments we have and tell us what areas you want to invest in protecting.
Regulation change confirmed for Season 2. We'll see what that is in just a moment. Either way, welcome back guys to another career mode episode here on F123 in the Ferrari team looking to win both championships. If you haven't seen the last episode guys, go check it out. Spoiler warning ahead, so go watch it. The Japanese Grand Prix linked in the top right. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So here we are. Championship standings. We still have a very healthy lead in both of the drivers and constructors titles. At the moment, Verstappen and Leclerc are our nearest rivals, especially Verstappen, who's slowly becoming our nearest challenger. Now, at the moment, I'm postponing an inevitable grid drop penalty for a new gearbox because our last unit is on 56% and we still have this race plus a sprint and then another 6 races after to go. So we're pretty much trying to delay this as late as possible in case we can win the title earlier ahead of time. To do that, we're going to do some upgrades and we're going to purchase a major chassis update for the fuel tank, which is going to bring us off the bottom of the table, and that brings us into Qatar for the weekend's action. Now, the forecast is dry. I mentioned it's a sprint weekend, so double points, basically double races. The grid is going to be changing next season, of course, with the powertrain and durability being affected by the reg change. Now, if you look at the right hand side of the screen, I can't believe it, but in one race we have dropped to second from last, penultimate in the performance chart. Last episode we were 5th behind Aston Martin, and I don't know what the hell has happened this race, but everyone has brought a flurry of upgrades and we have dropped to second from last, penultimate of the entire grid, which is astonishing. Obviously we just purchased that chassis update and we're going to spend the rest of our points basically for the rest of the season trying to get performance updates because we need to basically keep up with the pack. So here we go into Friday practice, and of course sprint weekend means FP1 and then into qualifying, so a bit of a different format, and we do our race runs as always. That went pretty smooth. P3 at the time, tyre wear quite high, it has to be said. Fuel consumption also very high. Both of these, this track is very taxing on tyres and fuel. You're flat out pushing every single corner. But yeah, we finished practice in 4th. Mercedes looking very, very quick. But we waste no time and we jump straight into qualifying, and we're going to get things underway here. Short qualifying session followed by, of course, a 10-lap sprint race and then the main event race, of course, here, which should all be fun. So let's get into it. I've made a few adjustments to my setup because historically I've always run like maximum front wing here, but the AI are very quick on the straight, so I've actually dialed it down a little bit, so we're not going to be as fast in the corners, but hopefully we should be overall pretty well balanced. Still having decent cornering, but we can have a bit more straight line speed. Hamilton with a 1:18.7 setting the benchmark early on here. We're going to close out our first timed lap. 11 minutes left on the clock. Now, as we run up to the line, we run out of deployment, so we'll try to fix that for the final lap. And we set a 1:18.9, which is P2, and I'll take that. That's not too shabby, to be fair, considering we did a good chunk of that straight with none ERS. So we come back to the garage. We're second for now. Leclerc P7, Verstappen down in P10. We own the quickest middle sector. So interesting things as we develop onto a quicker run, our final run, and this is going to be flat out now. So we're going to give it absolutely everything. This is going to be all or nothing pretty much. We are the last car to start a lap. So let's get into it. DRS open, and we set the brake bias and the diff to 50 to get maximum rotation throughout every corner on this track. Turn 1, brake at the 50, down to 5th gear, clip the apex and get the power down super early to use all the curb and runoff here. This is all artificial grass, tarmac, painted up runoff strips, so you can basically use a lot more than just the track and the curbs. Make use of it as we head through the double right-hander here to close out Sector 1. Brake bias adjustment to 55 to avoid rear locking into the hairpin, the slowest corner on the track. And so far, we are up in the first sector. Lose a little bit on the exit there, but we go back down to 50 bias to now get the rotation back for these medium to high speed corners. Right on the track limits there on the exit of that right-hander at turn 6, and now carrying the speed as we head through turn 8. Important here to get a really good exit as we keep it within the white lines, and we're a tenth and a half up pretty much as we are going to go across the second split. Purple looking good here, tenth and a half up on Hamilton as we look to close out the lap through the flat out rights. Little lift on that last one to be confident, and now penultimate corner, 6th gear, didn't quite get all the apex, but we carry enough speed, and now 1 corner remains. On the brakes, we go down to 4th gear, clip the apex, but we have a bit of a moment and we invalidate, which also compromised our exit. But if we look at the delta, we gain so much on the run to the line. Had we just kept that final corner clean and matched our previous, plus the run to the line, we probably would have improved by 2/10 and got pole. Instead, P3.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Martinez, Verstappen, Perez, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Albon, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Bottas, Joe, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Stroll, and Logan Sargent. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Here we go then, time for the sprint. You've seen qualifying. We start on the second row, Mercedes front row lockout. They've been in some pretty insane form lately, and it continues here in Qatar. Now you can see in the bottom right we have some engine wear which we're going to have to deal with. Besides that, we're on mediums. Everyone is on softs, so a big compound difference. We're going to be fighting to try and hold on in the initial few laps. Hopefully it goes our way towards the end. The big issue, or the big concern I have here, is going to be fuel. I've gone for 1.2. That's should be okay for 10 laps, but this track is a big fuel drinker. So let's see how it goes, and hopefully we can make the medium tyre work in this sprint. Here we go. Lights on. Our starts have been inconsistent lately. Oh. Oh. Whew. Forget what I said. What a start. We're going to cut across at turn 1, and just like that, we take first place in the sprint on mediums. Norris up to second from nowhere. What a crazy start. Happy, happy days. Obviously they'll catch up to us pretty quickly as we're on this tyre, but we'll take that. Look at that, gap is 1 second. Russell up to second now, we're overtaking Lando, so I'll try and keep him out of the DRS, but I don't think it's going to be likely in this initial couple of laps. Australian speed, of course, is slower than theirs. I'm running less wing than I historically have done around this track, so we're giving up a bit of cornering to hopefully be okay on the straight. But you can see Russell still eating in to that deficit and that delta. Either way, we'll take it. It's a good start. Norris battling with Hamilton. They'll lose a bit of time, although Hamilton seems to have gone through first time. Yellow flag further back. That's Hamilton. So possible issue. No, he's battling with Verstappen. Something happened back there. Either way, Russell and I have broken away, which is great news. Ricciardo out of the session. No safety car, it seems. First chance for Russell to look for the pass here. We have a bit of a snap out the final corner. DRS will now be enabled. I'm going to try and hold on.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
And we do manage to hold on for now. Russell now will have DRS, so very likely he probably gets the move here. I'm not going to fight. I want to save this bit of battery as recharge is next to impossible. I want to try and follow him and stick with him, and hopefully we can fight back at the end of the race. We've done the hard bit, which is stay competitive. We are now fighting for this win. I was hoping to not drop down a P6, P7 at first, but now we're here and we've got to manage.
Here's some information on Russell for you. They seem to have an issue.
Okay. Huge. Absolutely massive. You can see visibly he's already struggling. So we're going to waste no time and get stuck in. We can potentially create a gap here. Hamilton might get stuck behind. Full push. I'm going to trust that I can pull away without leaning on the battery too much. As Hamilton, you can see, is stuck behind him. And there we go, we've broken DRS.
Green flag.
Another yellow further back. Just got to make sure we stay out of DRS range. Hamilton through on Russell. Risky place to do it, but he's got it, but they've lost a lot of time. And Bottas is another car to drop out. So we have a bit of respite. Let's see if we can manage the gap to Lewis here. Now we're going to try and keep him out of DRS. We're going to use battery actively because tyres are in the first phase, so the softs should be going off. Okay, I think we've got this. Norris up to second. Has overtaken Hamilton, but the gap is going up. We're looking pretty decent right now. Car's working well. We've got the advantage on tyres. Hamilton back through with a DRS slingshot, but it's not going to mean much. Track limits. First one. We're actually extremely efficient on fuel. I pre-fueled or pre-planned to, be burning fuel, so I put 1.2 in the car. We're only burning 0.01 per lap, so we can adjust for that in the race and bear that in mind. Pace is great right now. Here we go, last lap of the sprint. Great performance. Car was lovely to drive. Once we broke DRS, we never looked back thanks to Russell's issues, and that gives us a lot of good data for the race to bear in mind. So, final corner, and there we go, job done. Tyres, 55% left front in 10 laps. We'll bear that in mind for the main race.
Thank you. I need a moment. Yes, mate, I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes.
We're under the lights once again here in Qatar. Last year we took a year off due to a small footballing tournament that was being hosted, but it's all excitement on the track now. We're back here in Losail for a track that's 3.34 miles long. There are 16 turns around its unique three-pronged shape and just a single DRS zone out of turn 16. It's fast and it's flowing, and there's a good overtaking opportunity with DRS down the long straight and into turn 1. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Martinez lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Verstappen, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Albon, Russell, Sargent, Tsunoda, Stroll, Joe, Bottas, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Martinez. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
P1, main race, here we go. Can we convert into a race win? The few things to note for this race: Verstappen starts P4, Leclerc starts P10, George Russell with car trouble demoted to 14th after trouble in the sprint. So overall we've got a pretty clear path. It's going to be a rerun of the sprint. I expect to start on medium and everybody else to start on soft. I was wondering possibly starting on hard and then going mediums later, because we may be able to equalize the final stint, but I don't know how much we're going to suffer in the first stint with a hard tyre opposed to a soft in the initial laps. But you know what? I think it's something I'm willing to gamble on. So I'm going to try and start on the hard and see how that goes. So we're going to invert the strap and we're going to go long in the first stint. Fuel has been adjusted for as well based off the sprint. So yeah, we're going to see how this goes. Car feels good. Everything looks good. So let's get into it and let's send it for the main race and hopefully pick up a full 25. And that would potentially put one hand on the World Drivers' Championship. Now, one thing to note is tyre compounds. Hamilton is the only car going for softs. Everyone else seems to be on medium. We're on hards. We've got very, very excellent tyre temperatures, you can see in the bottom right. So our race start in the sprint was on the money. Let's try and replicate it here in the main race on this tyre. Hamilton will probably launch off the line, but we can probably fight against those on mediums. So let's get into it. And let's go for the race. This is it. This race, if we could win it, could be huge for the championship. Away we go. Good start. We're able to fend off Hamilton. Going to force him the long way round, and we're just going to run him out of road. Piastri on softs in the other McLaren as well. I don't mind letting Hamilton go. I just want to wait if I can see if I can frustrate him at least for as long as possible. Tyre wear's very high. You saw we was in the first phase on those mediums straight away in the sprint, so the softs will be there even quicker, and then we'll have an advantage on this tyre because we'll take the longest to get into the first phase, and that's when this tyre can work. So the longer we frustrate Lewis behind us, the better. Verstappen up to third as well, our main rival in the championship. Let's try and pull away here and get a gap, or at least try and stretch the pack out a little bit. These tyres actually feel okay. Feels like a decent race tyre. Hamilton might have a look here. We're going to have to burn a bit of battery, take a slightly conservative line into the triple right-hander. We're also heavier on fuel, so we have to account for that in our corner speed. Hamilton really knocking on the door now though, as we just look to defend. Hamilton to the outside. Contact. I washed a bit wide. Hamilton goes through. That's fine. We'll just stay in the slipstream. And hopefully once DRS arrives, we can just sit there and also follow him. Going to move my brake bias and diff down, both down to 50 now. We can start to hopefully get this car to rotate now that we're in our groove, got the tyres warmed up. We cannot let Verstappen pass under any circumstances. Oh, Verstappen went for it, but I was having none of that. Cut him off clean at the nose. Hamilton trying to make a break for it. Going to have to get on the battery here to keep up. We're stretching Verstappen a little bit.
DRS now enabled. DRS enabled.
This is good pace. Very good pace. This tyre feels great right now. At the minute, we are really flying. We're pulling away from Verstappen here. We're getting a gap. We're not going to drop him out of the DRS range, I don't think, but we are keeping up with Lewis here quite comfortably. Once Lewis hits the first phase, he'll drop back. Maybe he can hold up Verstappen. We can actually have an opportunity to break DRS here. Verstappen just stayed in. I probably could have actually dropped in there if I'd got on the battery, but still, we'll take it. We're looking very good right now for pace, very healthy. This tyre is working as we set another personal best. First warning. Just washed a bit wide down that first apex, got a bit of dirty air. This time we're going to get the battery out of there. Can we drop Verstappen? Not sure if we did, it'll be close. I'm in no rush to pass Hamilton, he's still got decent pace. Once I feel like his tyres are fading and he starts making mistakes, that's when I'll pass and I'll try and pull away and actually drop him out of DRS range. Norris drawn Verstappen. And they're battling. This is huge. First wobble there from Lewis as well. Hamilton's struggling now. Bit of a slide from me, not the best. We're going to have a poor exit as a result, so we're going to have to get on the battery, which is going to be attack and defence at the same time. We're barely catching Hamilton on the straight, so we'll stick behind for now. But Lewis is struggling. We have to try and look for the pass at the right time, which will enable us to also break DRS and pull away from the cars behind. There was a phase where I was a bit quicker than Lewis, but I feel like I've struggled a bit on this lap. Norris looks really quick. He's passed Verstappen and just looks really strong overall. Hamilton doesn't have any big moments, but we do have a very good final corner there. We gain a lot on him. I think we're going to try and go for it here. We've got a good run. We're going to force him defensive. We're barely gaining on the straight, using everything. Around the outside. Let's see then if we have the pace to try and drop him, or at least make him battle with Norris, and that would help us get away. Tyres are in the first phase already, so they don't really last much longer than the mediums, which is why I'm looking forward to running the mediums later on in the race. But let's try and open a gap here and stretch the pack. Okay, there we go. We've managed to drop Hamilton. Bit of a slide for the final corner, which is not optimal.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
All the battery's been used, so this is it. Just got to hope we can keep pulling away now throughout the rest of the next lap. Piastri passes Verstappen, which is interesting. So the soft tyres on his car still have a bit of life left in them. Let's try and run away now. Norris through on Hamilton. Now we're going to see the true pace left in that car, especially without DRS. We're going to see who's quicker. McLaren seemed to come alive though in the race. Verstappen also back through on Piastri, who seems to be finally dying on those softs. Hamilton's still a threat in this race. He's staying in Norris's DRS, and when he pits, he'll undercut everyone, likely on the mediums, and that will put him back at the front. And then we're going to have to fight back later on our medium tyre. Everyone on medium will go to the hard. I don't think they'll go for softs. Piastri Verstappen still going at it, and Verstappen's losing crucial time here, which is huge for our race. Hopefully other cars get involved and they lose even more time. We're in the second phase now. Tyre wear icon has flashed up on screen. So we only have a handful of laps left. If I can get this to lap 15, that would be perfect, but we're going to have to take some pain on our tyres. We'll see if we make it. Leclerc in the pits already, so he started on softs. He was way down here, not even P10, so Leclerc's been nowhere this weekend pace-wise. Just nothing at all. He's really struggling with the car. Hamilton into the pits. Norris is still keeping up. Pace is very similar between us.
There's a new strategy available on the MFD.
Projects, I'm close to puncturing my tyres.
Copy that.
Leclerc's pit, so we can pit whenever we like. This is puncture territory now, so this is risky business, but we're going to have to take a risk here if we want to make the one-stop work. I should probably pit this lap, but I might even go to end of 15. I'll see.
Confirmed. We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
I'm going to box. I think tyre wear is actually better on the mediums. We had 55 at the end of the sprint, which could serve us well here, so we're going to get off these tyres. Lando pits with us, so we avoid the undercut. Here we go. Easy into the pits. Nicely done. Right, this is going to be critical, but we have to do it. Good stop, 2.2, no fault. Back underway. Norris rejoins behind on hard tyres as expected. Hamilton will be the new net race leader, and we'll try and fall in behind.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Interestingly, Lewis went for medium. But yeah, we had 55% on these after 10 laps. So I think we have the same, if not slightly better wear with these tyres. So I'm going to try and see if I can get these to the end. We are going to get held badly here by Ricciardo through these corners. You see he's got no tyres left. We'll get DRS though, which is good for the main straight. Hopefully Ricciardo pits, gets out the way, which he does. I'm going to push, I'm going to get everything. This is a fast lap attempt on this one. We'll use the DRS, which is rare, to try and beat Hamilton's 22.1. Never mind. Oh my god. we've lost the engine. It's happened for the first time in a while. Oh my days. Well, that is definitely a grid drop then for the next race. Wow, for the championship. Leclerc 6th. This race just took a turn.
And that's the checkered flag. What an effort from the team here in Qatar. And a fully deserved victory too. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners.
So George Russell recovers to 2nd place after that race. I don't know what happened in that last stint, but George must have gone on a rampage, and it's a 1-2 for Mercedes, who do look the strongest car right now, have done for the last couple of races. Verstappen also gets 3rd, Piastri 4th, so no sign of Lando Norris, which tells me, if we look at the results, Lando has joined us in the DNF column, so that would have been a very, very doable race win, because we would have dropped Lando had we not retired, and we could have tried to race Hamilton, but both myself and Lando drop out. Leclerc gets a couple of points in P9, but Verstappen finishes on the podium, and that does have championship ramifications. So luckily the sprint race is going to offset the main race results a little bit. So as you can see, the gap is 75 points to Verstappen, so 3 race wins with 5 races to go, which is the kind of approximate calculation without factoring in fastest laps. Hamilton is up to 3rd in the championship. What a weekend for him. He overtakes Perez, and Leclerc's down to 5th. Wow, and Russell's 6th, not too far behind. I mean, Mercedes right now have the package, and Lando's right there as well. 40 points, cover 2nd to 6th, and it feels like right now Mercedes and McLaren are in the ascendancy, and Mercedes seem very, very strong. In the Constructors, we have a 67-point lead over Red Bull. Mercedes now 100 points behind, 101 to be exact. I think we've got McLaren covered off, but Mercedes could be a very late end of season threat, because also we are going to take a grid drop probably at the next race. So we're going to be on the back foot again. Wow, this has really, really turned. What a moment. Well guys, that is it for Qatar. Like, subscribe. The championship possibly blown wide open, who knows? But either way, Mercedes are back, and they look to try and make a late push for the crown. Cheers for watching guys, appreciate it as always. A big shout out to the members. Check out the links down below guys to my channel partners, including my wheel and my gloves. And as always, check out the 2 videos on screen. But yeah, cheers for watching guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care, and let's goodbye from me.